Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jake. This channel is called Jake of All Trades, and I decided to make this a two-parter for today because I just finished reacting to Song 3 by BABYMETAL and Slaughter to Prevail, and I noticed in the process of trying to find the song and everything that there was a Song 4 from, I think, their original album, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm like, okay, so they have a Song 4 and a Song 3, like, you know what, let's just make this a double feature, screw it. So I'm going to be reacting to the original track, as well as I think there's a live version that'll be easy to listen to that's like, you know, probably somewhat well produced. So we're going to do a compare and contrast if at all possible, and if not, I'm just going to be reacting to just the song and we're going to stick with that. We are going to see how this goes. Without any further ado, let's get started. All right, here we go. Song 4, BABYMETAL, just BABYMETAL. Here we go. Definitely a way different vibe than the other one. Still got the contrast. Dun, 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 dun. There's some screaming in the background. This reminds me a little bit of Elevator Operator. Dun 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 dun. Still got the Kawhi vocals. That screaming is like, whoa, where's that coming from? Who's doing that? Got a pinch harmonic in there. Kind of get a little bit of a dark tone now. What just happened? That completely changed. I just got whiplash. Was that Momo? Did this song come out before or after Momo? I'm so confused right now. What? There's so many change-ups. That drumming is awesome. I love how it's like bouncing back, left, right, center. That phasey guitar. This song's so entertaining. Sue's voice is doing a lot of bouncing in this song. Just between channels, anyway. Alright, I have no idea if this is going to make it in or not, but I saw one that says MOAMETAL solo version. So I'm curious about how this one's going to be compared to the other two versions I just checked out. We're gonna find out. If this is, just kind of a repeat, it's gonna get cut. If not, we're keeping it in, and it's gonna be part of the compare and contrast. Which will it be? Let's find out. Alright, so this is definitely a later performance than the last one. Oh, those visuals too. Like the foxes? That is cool. Oh god, Eicaus lyrics. Cool. Now that I see the lyrics, this is definitely something I would do in teaching or something. Counting down? Oh god. Oh, I get that. Interesting. I gotta look this up later. Force for vitamin C? I'm really intrigued by the lyrics now. This part is just never gonna not make me laugh. I'm still curious about who's doing the screams. God, I wish I knew about this song when I taught kindergarten. I get the feeling this isn't going to be as extended. I'm curious as to why it's just Moa. Not that she doesn't deserve her own time in the spotlight, but like, I'm just curious. YMCA. Oh, we got a little harmony going on there in the guitar. Man, that was so much fun. All right, per usual, I went back and reviewed each of the versions another time each and just did it section by section to try and pick out the nuances. And just to give some overall thoughts on the song, this is a very different song than song 3. Just considering that the titles are similar, they are just very different different songs. And you can see the maturity level change over time, because song 4, I think if I'm looking at this correctly, was from the debut album. So that would have been like when they were still just kids. And I do want to make some corrections from my initial reaction. So when I was looking at it initially, I thought it was Sue and Moa that were on stage in the live version, because, you know, I know at one point BABYMETAL left the band and they had like some other dancers that they were referred to as the Avengers, if I read those comments correctly. So I assumed that that was just that era for some reason, but they were still kids. So, you know, I guess the timeline doesn't match up. And so I looked through the comments and they're like, oh, this was BABYMETAL and BABYMETAL, I'm probably messing up her name, I'm sorry, and MOAMETAL together, and Sue is not on the stage in the live version. And so it's like, oh, okay, I totally had that wrong. I'm sorry for messing that up again. I'm just trying to piece together what I hear in the comments and just a little bit of like what I hear in the timeline, as if this is like a Marvel Cinematic Universe sort of thing. Anyway, as I learn more, I'm starting to piece it together little bits by little bits, and it's just hard for me to like know the whole stretch as I'm like reacting to song by song, and it's not even in the order that it came out in, and I haven't been following them from the beginning. So made some mistakes in my analysis there, so I do apologize. Anyway, back to the theme of the song. I didn't really get it until I saw the lyrics pop up in the Moa-Only version. The captions were there, and I'm like, oh wow, this is very much a kid's song, you know? And I saw in the comments too that it was written by Moa and BABYMETAL on the bus together. It very much fit the name of the band, like the theme of the song, like the counting to 4 sort of thing. BABYMETAL. It was like metal for babies. Anyway, so song 3 is very much a different version, I guess, of like what the ideas of this song were, like despite the same sort of song titling. Some other overall thoughts for this song is that I felt like the vocals were very much overpowered by the instrumentals, but given, like I said, this was like on their first album, like their sound has definitely matured over the years and gone through a lot of refinement. So there were times where the vocals were loud and clear, cut through the mix just fine, but then other times it was like it kind of was buried under the instruments a bit more. And especially with like MOAMETAL's performance just herself, because she's the only one doing the vocals. Now it sounds like they did have a backing track, because as I was listening to all 3 versions, it felt like there was more doubling ironically in the live version than there was in the studio version. Because like listening to the chorus, it sounded like it was just one vocal. It didn't sound doubled for the main line, da 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 da. That sounded like a single vocal and not doubled. But then in the live version, you had BABYMETAL and MOAMETAL singing, but then it also sounded like there might have been a backing track supporting them. And even in Moa, like you could definitely tell it's not just her voice. But even despite that, it sounded a little bit drowned out at times, but that's okay. It was still a fun performance, and I enjoyed seeing the live versions where you can see the choreography, whereas the studio version you're just like listening to it, because one of the biggest aspects of BABYMETAL is the dance choreography. So when you don't really have the video to go along with it, it's kind of like, okay, what am I listening to? What's going on here? And speaking of the whole what's going on here thing, that change up from the metal to like the sudden like dun, 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 dun. I don't know, it was so jarring, and it's never gonna not make me laugh, just hearing that little change from the metal to the light. I don't want to throw a genre on it because I'm probably gonna mess it up, but you know what I'm talking about. And then to have the transition be like a bing, and then back into the heavy metal with the kind of like a dark sort of growl over the top of it, it's like, this is unsettling. And then it goes right back into the da, 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 da. And then it has like this little choppy vocal that goes back into the heavies again, which in the studio version had like a lot of jumps between the left and the right channels, which wasn't really replicated live. though I'm sure it just doesn't really translate to the headphones very well. Another thing I really enjoyed about it, I know I'm all over the place, which is kind of like this song, it was all over the place. I like the phase guitar that it starts off with, like the kind of like arpeggiated, but like the phase effect on it was like really cool sounding, and it kind of gave me a little bit of like an 80s guitar vibe. Like there was like some 80s influence to it, so I enjoyed that as well. Obviously the dun 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 dun, that seems to be like a very common chant that Electric Callboy used in Elevator Operator video recently, and obviously used here, and it's just like one of those common chants, and I like the way they utilized it. And one of the big differences I noticed between the different versions is that in both the Moa version and the studio version, the final time they do that before going into the final chorus, they just do a pass through of that twice, but on the second one kind of have like add the double bass to it to just intensify it. But then what I enjoyed about the live version with Moa and BABYMETAL, they extended that section and had them go to each part of the audience, and so they had 4 run-throughs addressing the audience, and then they did a 5th time center stage before going into the next section. So they definitely extended it. I like the way that they did that, and you know, at first when I first saw them go to the crowd, I'm like, well, I feel bad for the people on the other side of the stage. They don't get to see them like being addressed for this, do they? But then I saw as they were extending, like, okay, no one's left out. That's good. Then getting into the ending here, the studio version had like a childlike laughter, but it was like, again, in the BABYMETAL sort of style, even though it's childlike, there's like something off about it all, kind of like the creepy kid in a horror movie sort of thing. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then the other little change up that I noticed in the Moa-Only version, the guitar, they added a harmony on the last pass through, which I thought was kind of interesting. Like they didn't have that in the studio version or the other live version, so I thought that was a cool change up there as well. Very interesting song overall, very childlike. This would be like if I had kids, like the song I would kind of play to them and be like, all right, this is how I'm gonna get you into metal music, but also be kid friendly. Yeah. So I enjoyed it. Definitely a very different song than song 3. You can see how they've matured over the years, but still kind of kept some of the same ideas with the wordplay and everything. Oh, actually, speaking of wordplay, looking at the lyrics for this song, one of the lyrics was like, 4 doesn't mean death. And 4 is for happiness, and 4 is for joy, and 4 is for vitamin C, which was like, wait, I don't get that particular connection. But again, I'm not very attuned to Japanese culture and language and stuff, but I know that there's a lot of influence from Chinese, and I lived in China for 6.5 years and learned the language, or at least to some extent, and learned some of the nuances. And one of the things I learned with Chinese anyway, and I know they carry the same character between Japanese and Chinese for 4. In Chinese, s is 4 in Chinese, and s is death in Chinese. So it's like the same pronunciation, but just with a different tone. And so 4 is associated with death in China. And I don't know if that carried over to Japan at all, but given the reference in the lyrics, I think there might be something with that. So it was interesting that they played on that trope and were like, no, 4 is not death, 4 is for happiness and vitamin C for some reason. So anyway, I thought that was really, really fascinating, and I'd be curious to kind of hear a little bit more for those of you that are more in tune with like the Japanese culture and the interpretation of the number 4. I would love to learn a little bit more, but anyway, that was just the connection I was making anyway. I may be completely off on that. Please let me know, politely please. But that was what I took from this song. If you like the video, leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications so that you don't miss anything going forward, and let me know what other BABYMETAL songs I should check out next, or any other band you'd like me to check out. If you leave a comment, I'll give you a shout out. Also, I want to thank Jonas S for supporting me on Patreon. Really appreciate it. That's it for this video. Thank you again for watching and sticking with me through this whole journey that this was. I appreciate you sticking around to the end, but enjoy the rest of your day. God bless you. And rock on.